I have this theory that in the United States, people don't think it's important to know how to use a firearm. They don't view it as a tool, right? Because, well, what's the point? I'll call the police, they'll handle stuff. We're taught in schools, don't punch the bully back in the face. Go find an adult, and the adult will be able to handle it after, he's done tormenting you or she's done tormenting you. So I feel as if though we live in this society that is so well structured with emergency response. You call the cops when someone's breaking into your home, and on average, under 6 minutes, people with guns are there to help you. You get in a car accident, someone calls 911, on average, in 4 minutes, an ambulance is there to help you. I feel that we've been spoiled with this system to the point where we've become so disassociated with the real insanity that consistently takes place around us. If you ever know a 911 operator, I always tell my students in the class, who here knows a 911 operator? Somebody always raises their hand, or somebody was one. I say, why did you quit? I can't handle that. It was so stressful. Tell everybody in this room now, how often is there complete chaos, car accidents, poisonings, beatings, homicide? How often is that taking place within this geographic 50-mile radius? All the time. But we never see it as ordinary citizens going about our day because the police handle it so quickly and effectively. Sure, there's room to be worked on, but they handle it so well that there could be a murder in the street, and an hour later, pending investigation, you wouldn't even know it happened. Would you agree or disagree that because of the structure and the way that we've been living life for so long now, we've become so disassociated with the need for self-reliance that is why people view firearms in somewhat of a negative context?
Yes, absolutely. It's the luxury of suburban life. It's the luxury of urban life. It's suburban life. It's the luxury of suburban life. And I say that as somebody who grew up in Texas and didn't grow up in. I'm amazed every day of how life is in the suburbs. I can't. The police are right there. The fire department is right there. You don't have. Yes, I open up the Facebook and there's a coyote ran across the back of the back. What's the big? That's a coyote running across. And this is where they are being. Yes. You've gotten to, and I don't want. It's we're very fortunate that we live in the suburbs. We're very fortunate that we have the police that can respond so quickly. We're very fortunate that we have the fire protection that we have that can be at our house so quickly. But I also want to say this is that doesn't take away from me from that I'm still properly trained in the use of a firearm. I don't think they're going to be there fast enough. Do you understand that?
Oh, I understand that.
I still have a fire escape ladder in my bedroom to get my family, and I still have a fire extinguisher in my bedroom, in my daughter's bedroom, in the kitchen, in the garage, in the washroom, because I don't depend on the government. I can't stand. I'm not going to wait on the fire department. I believe in self-rescue. In all situations, on my boats, I believe in self-rescue. I don't want to depend on the Coast Guard to come get me when I'm on Lake Michigan. I'm going to attempt to self-rescue every single time. I prepare for the worst. And I do that in the house too. But yes, we have gotten to the point, especially in the suburbs, and it's been like this for the last, but that's also they've done it to us since elementary school when they brought in Patrolman Joe in first grade, and they let us admire his shiny badge and his shiny gun, and he told us that Patrolman Joe is the guy you go to for safety.
Yep.
They brought him back in 6th grade, and Patrolman Joe let us smell marijuana and told us not to smoke marijuana.
Yep.
Patrolman Joe came back in 8th. All the things Patrolman Joe was there every day of the week to tell us how not to be. The entire thing Patrolman Joe did. Did you understand the indoctrination?
Yeah. Don't be reliant on yourself. You need to find somebody to solve this problem for you.
Exactly. And we all And and I tell my clients, and I do criminal defense, and I get my clients, especially for and we're not here for we're not here for DUI for a DUI or things, but I do tell my clients, don't blow and don't do those field sobriety tests, because a police officer can't testify that you stepped off a line if you never put your step on a line in the first place for the 9 steps. Police officer can't testify that you put your foot up if you never put your foot down for the 1-legged stand. Does that make sense to you? Can't testify that you didn't touch your nose if you never put your nose up in the first place. Can't testify that you blew a .16 if you never wrap your lips around a straw. Does that make sense to you? So, but that goes against everything that you're told as a child, that you are supposed to cooperate with Officer Joe when he pulls you out of the car and tells you to hold. You can't testify that your eyes are messed up if you don't let him point the stimulus in your eyes. Does that make sense? Yeah. But you got to have the balls to go, no, Officer Joe, respectfully, I'm not doing your test. You got to have the balls to do that, and that goes against everything Mommy and Daddy told you to do. I've got to tell these clients after the first time, I understand why you did it, but you can't do that again, because the next time, Officer Joe, that there's some serious consequences the second time.
A couple of really great points there. One, if my home is on fire, I don't sit there and call the fire department and not do anything. Literally not escape, not use the fire extinguisher. I have a fire extinguisher in place. I have carbon monoxide detectors, which we actually had go off last weekend, and it was rising. Turns out we had an incident, and it could have potentially been lethal. So what did we do to take preventative measures? Well, we put monoxide detectors in place. If there's a fire, I would put it out with an extinguisher. If there's somebody violently attempting to, battery me or assault me, I, in a grievous manner, right, I want to be able to protect myself with equal or greater force than, because it's not a joke at that point, and the majority of the world lives in consistent states of not lawlessness, but needed independence. You're going to get beat pretty regularly in Brazil. You're going to get robbed at gunpoint a few times growing up in Brazil. It's just a natural thing that occurs out there. The rest of the world, 2/3 of the world, is like that. Very selective places have low violent crime rates, and it's the societies that are so well founded and structured. And even going back into what you're saying here, where we're just told, don't have any sense of independence. This is too grave of a situation for your feeble self to possibly ever be, solved. Don't worry about it. Pick up the phone and call the police, who are not your bodyguards, who are not your personal protective systems. No, you need to know how to take care of yourself in a fire, in a violent attack, in a carbon monoxide leak, in the cold. You wear warm clothing because you don't want to get frostbite. And it's almost as if my mom told me that I need to call the cold clothing store and ask them to come bring me some gloves every time it gets cold out. All a firearm really is just a means of tools of security and safety, so that now that we have peace of mind, we can continue to build whatever life it is that we're trying to build.
Exactly, and it's again, you keep calling it a tool, and that's exactly what it is. And that's why I always wonder why a firearm is a tool. It's another tool in a toolbox of an arsenal. An arsenal is a toolbox.
It's an option.
Of an options.
Absolutely.
Option. Depending upon what scenario you're in, you have an option. You just have different options, and that's what it is. And concealed carry, what they've designed is concealed carry just limits the options as to what you do in that scenario. They've just limited your scenario by statute.
Awesome. Well, you ready to roll, man? Do you want to take a break?
I've been rolling the whole time.
Okay, cool.